Today there is important news from the Pokrovsk direction. Here, Ukrainian units launched a massive wave of coordinated counterattacks along the entire Dobropillia frontline to block and cut off the Russian pincer above Myrnohrad. As the Russians were forced to quickly react to the unfolding developments, the Ukrainian command ordered to execute the most important move of the entire Pokrovsk operation. Ukrainian units counterattacked near Dobropillia, combining airpower, tanks and precision-guided munitions in a synchronized strike that put Russian positions in great danger. The operation began when aerial reconnaissance detected Russian drone operators setting up in the territory of a local mine east of Rodynske. Within minutes, the coordinates were transmitted, and a Ukrainian Su-27 delivered a precise strike with a GBU-62 Jdam bomb, annihilating the launch site. Moments later, Ukrainian surveillance drones spotted Russian troops attempting to fortify a building on the outskirts of Rodynske. Another airstrike followed, again using Jdam bomb, wiping out the infiltrators and several Russian officers who had been directing operations in that area. Later, Ukrainian drones identified fresh groups of Russian soldiers attempting to regroup in another building inside Rodynske, but a Ukrainian tank opened fire on one structure, clearing it of enemy forces. Inside an industrial complex nearby, more Russians were spotted, so Ukrainian jets launched Jdams again, with the first one missing slightly due to Russian electronic warfare interference, while the second flattened the site successfully. These airstrikes were part of a carefully planned prelude to the main ground counterattack aimed at securing Myrnohrad's northern flank and pushing Russian forces further away from encircling it. Ukrainian forces used the momentum of the airstrikes and ground units to simulate a massive assault launched from all sides, catching the attention of the Russian surveillance and forcing them to switch focus from offense to defense. The enemy abandoned temporarily attempts to reach the encircled units and instead focused on holding the line. Later, it became evident that the Ukrainian counterattack was a well-orchestrated distraction. While the Russian command concentrated all attention on Dobropillia, convinced that the northern flank was the main target, Ukrainian commanders quietly executed a partial rotation of forces in Myrnohrad. This operation enabled the secure evacuation of wounded personnel and the delivery of vital supplies and ammunition to those still defending the town. It was a textbook deception maneuver: create pressure on one sector, force the enemy to divert reserves, and use the gained window to reinforce or extract troops from another direction. This first stage of the plan was completed with remarkable coordination. Ukrainian troops conducted the rotation and partial withdrawal from the semi-encircled town with no losses. The counterattack to the north drew away Russian reconnaissance assets, allowing evacuation convoys to move through safely under electronic countermeasures. Part of the soldiers were safely extracted behind the front lines, while the remaining defenders in Myrnohrad resupplied and prepared to hold the new line. At the same time, this was not the only distraction for the Russians. While the Dobropillia counterattack tied down their reserves, they were also forced to maintain focus on Pokrovsk, where Ukrainian forces continued to hold the enemy south of the railway line by constant clearing operations against Russian infiltrators. This persistent defense, the main objective of Ukraine's Pokrovsk operation, is working precisely as General Syrskyi planned. The ability to withdraw, rotate and evacuate forces from Myrnohrad would have been impossible if Pokrovsk had fallen, or if Russian units had broken through north of the railway. Ukrainian troops are thus not only defending two towns, but coordinating between them in a way that keeps both strategically viable and linked through controlled logistics corridors. Overall, the latest events around Dobropillia, Pokrovsk and Myrnohrad reveal a multi-layered Ukrainian strategy to contain the Russian advance, transform Myrnohrad into a fortress, and force Russia into another slow, attritional fight that cost thousands of lives for minimal territorial gain. The successful Dobropillia counterattack has already bought Ukraine precious time, destabilized Russian planning, and improved the security of the northern approaches. If Ukraine continues to hold the railway in Pokrovsk and keeps Myrnohrad supplied, the Russians will face months of bloody stalemate, one that Ukraine will use to strengthen its new defensive lines behind the embattled towns. The biggest problem with reading news online is that it comes as a stream of isolated headlines with no context or timeline of the events that led to them, creating the illusion that things happen at random. To navigate this chaos, we have created Timeline Builder, the first artificial intelligence-powered tool designed to connect the dots between the news in real time. With this tool, you will be able to instantly see all other connected news and events that have led to what happened today. We have been perfecting our AI model behind the scenes for a long time, and today we are ready to release it to everyone. To get access to our Timeline Builder tool, check out the link in the description and join our website. Thank you for watching this update, and a special thanks to everyone already following our interactive map.